Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so this is that girl hanging out with my friend. She's listened to her session today, which is fantastic. So we can explore it more. And while we have the privilege of listening to her session, we still want to talk about some of the advanced concepts that were just slipped out of the vehicle as if it was no big deal, which I know has triggered people beautifully, right? So let's explore it together. So, welcome, my friend. How do you feel today?
I'm ready.
You're ready to talk about it?
I am ready. And I just want to say that if I have triggered anybody or scared anybody, it's not me. It's not my fault. You know, I was just, I was just the messenger.
You are here
So,
for it. And this
but all
is,
good stuff. All good stuff.
yeah. Um, you're here for it. It's nothing personal. You're doing it to help everyone have a perspective that they may have not heard before. And so, this is advanced information. And sort of feel like while I've been collecting a lot of information for the time book, it kind of is so consistent with the next step of understanding the concepts and the convoluted experiences of being human. And so I kind of feel like for me, this is my natural step of information that I've been seeking and ready to hear. I have heard many clients saying after this shift, they're just going to go back into their other lifetime bodies and continue on that way. This is just being a practical, man's on, hands on energy field volunteer role gig, but this is not their journey to go like. And this is the classic example of those people who will not go to New Earth. They're not New Earth people or beings. They've done
All right.
5D. They're helping assist very critically, time sensitive, energy sensitive, whatever you want to call it, illusions and other planets on 3D. So I guess their computer systems are breaking down too, or their programming is breaking down too, or let's explore it. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to listen to you tell me how it felt when you listened to the rest of your session. How was that for you?
Okay, so I I've, I'm not sure if we covered it in the last conversation, but I'm one of those people that are not going to the new earth. And at first I was a little disappointed, but then when I understand why I'm not going to the new earth, I'm like many that have just come here to help what's going on here, not to continue on with the journey of the souls that are going. So, and also the listening to the part where my life is a little bit of an illusion. But I had to sit with that today, and it was a little triggering, like for most people. But then luckily I was able to come back around and realize, yes, it's an illusion, but it doesn't mean that it's not important. It doesn't mean that I'm not needed. It doesn't mean that every single thing that's happening here matters and is significant. Everything that I do matters and is significant. So yes, it's an illusion, but yes, it's real. I mean, it's both. It's both.
Mm, absolutely. And I think this is what we need to really wrap our heads around. While they say it's an illusion, all emotions are real. And that's not new for us, right? We know that the purpose and significance of being here and the unique experiences being here is about the emotions and balancing the emotions and finding significance in the emotions. It's all about the emotion. So it should not surprise us that that's the only real thing here. While our bodies feel real, while our houses feel real, from the perspective that they're talking about, this is what you'd almost call a dream, but it's a real dream. It feels real, it's practical, but yeah, it's all energy. And it's this illusion and it gets very convoluted. And I think we're not supposed to believe that. Intuitively, we're not supposed to believe that, because if we seriously started trying to break out of the matrix or whatever labels you want to call it, I think we would then start getting very distracted from the actual significance of healing others, empowering others, loving others. We would start losing the significance and purpose of actually why we are here. And it is important why we're here. We would not be here just for for nothing. And it is so
No,
like,
it's my understanding that
sorry.
sorry. It's my understanding that in the 5D, they're all balanced with their emotions, correct? They have this neutrality. That's the difference between 3D and 5D. So how can we go there if we don't know how to balance our emotions and remain neutral?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if we haven't even started loving ourselves or others, there's some huge homework there. If you haven't got to it's kind of like you're a painter and you've never touched the color blue or yellow, like, and it's kind of like you haven't even touched the primary colors. And like, I know there's choices and all, but we're here to experience all colors. We're here to experience all emotions. And for some collectives and for some individuals, they've never truly practiced or expanded upon loving themselves or loving others at a third dimensional level. While there's very many different layers of love, I think we're trying to find what true unity and community feels like.
I agree. And again, from what reading the books and what I'm understanding about the difference between the third density and the fifth density is in the fifth density, they know that they're all one. It's not even a question. They know they're all one. They know they're all connected. It's, we have to get there. We have to learn that skill.
Mm. Yes. And I think energetically it just happens. But we sort of hear that it's, we're evolving, and it's not just a simple changing from one clothes to another. It's not just a simple, positive mindset. It's everything. It's so intensive, the energy shift between the third dimension and the fifth dimension. Oh my gosh. It's like walking to work versus, a jet plane on hyper speed NOS. Like it's unfathomable, the difference between the energy that you feel on New Earth versus being here. And when I have had some breaks to go to the New Earth in sessions, holy shit, it's a difference. It's a stark contrast. It's so stark that sometimes they will say to the clients, we will not show them their energy and take them to the New Earth because there's so much struggling here, they would give up, because it's just, they don't want to really, really, really allow us to really recognize what we're energetically in, because, we're trying to cope and balance ourselves as much as possible. And I kind of feel like, well, I think people could handle it. And, but I'm not going to hardcore debate the subconscious. And I want to respect all the subconsciouses because they know their clients better than I, they know my clients better than me. So yes, it is a huge difference. Just the density of the bodies themselves, oof, you're like, super light. And you experienced that when you were on board the ship, which you truly are already. Like, do you feel like your energy, do you feel like your crystalline body is already there, or you just merge back into it? Or what do you think happens to your body? Are you like a shapeshifter? Because I've heard those sort of things, and I've heard that Arcturians are shapeshifters.
I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to explore. I don't know if I hopped into somebody else's Palladian body. I don't know if I morphed into a Palladian body. I do know that I had not recognized that Palladian body before being on that ship. So it was not a body that I had been with for a long time. It was like I hopped in the body and like, ooh, okay, this is different. So did I morph into that body or did I borrow the body? I don't know. That's something I definitely want to explore. But you were talking about they don't want to show us how great it is in 5D. But from what my guides were telling me in the session, they've sugarcoated what we're experiencing right now. I know it doesn't feel like it to the majority of people here, but they have sugarcoated it for us to keep us from being in shock.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
worse than what we realize.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you got shown that when you're looking at the planet, the illusion of the planet, while on board the ship, we saw it all desolate and barren.
Yes, it was as a desert planet. There was no water, there was no blue, there was no green. And I was thinking, am I seeing this after, like at the end, when everything we know that everything's going to be, kaput? But my guides in this last session said no, she was looking at it from hundreds of years ago. So it's been in a bad state for a very long time. They're just shielding us from that horror.
Mm. So, I've had quite a few clients, and their subconscious have stated to them that they are designers, architects, engineers of Earth, and they, brought into either the program or the matrix or the illusion, all these different uh, energy frequencies, such as plants and animals, to be able to add into this experience. And I know for myself, I've experienced that with my higher self and what she's done. And I know you've been told the same thing at a similar level. We didn't explore exactly the everything you did, but we, as many others would, come together to create these experiences, create these experiments to see how these systems work. And we're not talking about like what human does in terms of their systems and social societies and all that sort of stuff. Talking about just the balance and harmony of a 3D planet in terms of how it sort of matures and evolves, and how all species and all beings get to live idyllically in balance, peace, and harmony. And we started off with plants and getting the atmosphere right and all this sort of stuff. And because I think we always knew that the humanoid bodies was an important experience component to this illusion, this game we play of life.
Yeah, I wasn't shown my participation, if any, if I had any, for this particular planet. They did show me the creation of galaxies, which is pretty interesting, uh, whole star systems. So that was neat. That was very, very neat. Did I have any hand in this planet? Maybe. I mean, I think a lot of the people that are here right now is because they had a hand.
Mm-hmm.
They were here in the beginning. So is it possible? Yes.
Yes, it's common for the subconscious to say they're here to finish what they started. And so,
And I noticed that a lot of, tell me if I'm wrong, isn't it? Have you noticed a lot of not only people that were here in the beginning, but a lot of people that were here during Atlantis seem to have to be here right now too?
yeah, I mean, but then, could it just be said because that was a big majority of population living there? Um, like it's kind of like where a lot of karma developed there, that's for
Yeah.
sure. So, and that's at a collective level of those group of souls. So yes, it doesn't surprise me that they're all here to kind of pay back that karma or have those experiences for their own personal soul's journey. Remember, there's no one punishing people to do it, but yes, Atlantis is a big one because I feel like there's a lot of unresolved healing from that, same as Lemuria. But then, all the other off planet experiences that we've all collectively experienced too together. So, are we to assume that on all planets are illusions and that they are some sort of like, I don't know what you'd even call it, some sort of, it's not a computer system. I remember trying to explore what a quantum computer was from their aspect. And it's very mind-bending for, little monkey minds who are still trying to grasp things like loving themselves and others.
Maybe everything physical is illusionary. Anything that's not ethereal is an illusion. Maybe. I'm throwing that out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe everything is like virtual reality. It's all just experiences for our spirits,
And that would make sense how they were trying to explain.
But does it mean... Go ahead.
That this is a dream within a dream within a dream. So the original aspect of us is source, thinking that it's breaking away from itself, distancing itself. That's the illusion, because we haven't truly broken away from source, but we are participating in these very, what we think is very real experiences with the veil on us, to be completely oblivious to the fact that we're still source, having these interactions and feeling these emotions that we are not privy to in higher dimensions.
Yeah, definitely. I just had the thought of maybe because you have the third density and the fifth density, and it just keeps going on. Maybe every density is the dream of the next higher density. It's complicated. My mind can't wrap around it, but maybe
Well,
that's how it works.
absolutely. So if source is 12th density or whatever, then yes, each layer of density, each dimension would be another form of a dream that we're consciously in. I mean, we know we're multidimensional beings. So, and it becomes just this beautiful,
Right.
convoluted concepts of weaving in timelines, dimensions, realities, different current lifetimes, parallel lives, different soul aspects, same soul aspects in different bodies, and simultaneously all together. I mean, it's so convoluted because everything's happening now, and so it is intensive. And I kind of feel like this is advanced, and this could definitely.
Well, I know that I'm multidimensional, like you said, because they showed me, you know, bursting open and fractaling out and pushing myself through the lower densities, like splitting myself apart. And then they showed me, I think we talked about last time, my consciousness reaching down, but in multiple places here, not just in one spot,
Yeah.
So
And
it's so complicated.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's exciting though. I mean, knowing thyself is more than just kind of, figuring out, your family lineage here. Knowing yourself is about all the aspects of self, which would, if you're going to figure out all of yourself, you would keep going up in all those realities, all those dimensions, to see who you are, to get to that point of that soul aspect of being source itself. And so, and this is where it gets convoluted, where those guides that we call main guides, some of them are actually our higher versions of self. Some of them are support people for our higher versions of self as they are in the dream, and they are guiding us through this. And, our main guides may not be higher versions of self. They might just be friends or soul family. And so, or just a collective that's supporting us. It's marvelous. It is marvelous. But if you want to talk about, so I'm trying to figure it out. Like, so if we talked about this game of life, Earth, and the board we work on, if it's like a an actual game, like a physical game where you open the box and you lay out the board, the board would be Gaia, right? And then because you're playing on her, and then I'm still trying to like wrap my mindset around it all, and it's so marvelous, but I still feel like for some people who can't keep exploring this could be very triggering for them.
Well, if you only really want to get complicated, so you're playing this board game, but there aren't as many players as you think, so you have to play for 4 or 5 different spots. So you're the car, you're the dog, you're the bone, you're all these different things. So you're to keep the game going. And then because more people wanted to watch the game, then you got a whole bunch of people inside each spot.
Mm.
Not complicated at all.
Yes, and so when you find yourself being part of source, then you recognize you are source as you're all one. Because when you're at the level of source, you identify being all one. And then it becomes so fascinating. But it does kind of make, I think they must be telling us this to really make us drop any of the small little details that we still haven't let go of, because it's a big mature step to think about it that way, that, for some of us. However, I do feel that there are souls who have never graduated beyond the fifth. They are what you'd call maybe new souls that haven't had any other experiences. They have witnessed and explored consciously heaps of other things, but they've never had a physical lifetime. And this is it. And so they're wanting to be on their journey, and they get to choose whether they go to the fifth to have that novelty experience, being a light body in a fifth dimension reality. And so I feel like we are supporting so much of those collectives and individuals who haven't yet graduated from the third. We're teaching them to love themselves. We're teaching them to love others because we're showing them and leading them the way. But when they are so obsessed with everything but loving themselves and everything but loving others, this is when the games become very toxic and dense and uninspiring and quite detrimental because of the what you could say extra karma and extra challenges, and it's become harder and harder and harder and harder and harder to find your way back to love.
Yeah, that's why we're all here to help.
And that's why there is
we're here to be of service.
And that is why I think that's why there is many religions that seem very oppressive, and there's many countries and cultures that may feel very oppressive, but it may be to keep their lives so simply small that they have nothing but to focus on love and empowering themselves with love. And it seems very hard for us to understand some realities, some cultures, some life experiences, but when everything's significant and purposeful, you realize that this is the soul's best chance for them to get what they need to experience this lifetime.
I'm sure you're right, but I'm like many, and a lot of those religions are very triggering for me. I know that they all have purpose, like you're just describing right now. But at the same time, when I think about people being oppressed, that's one of my triggers.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially a lot of the really strict religions that you have, especially in some of the other countries. It's just, oh, you know, I'm all about being open minded and free thinking, but I know that's not necessarily what everybody needs.
Well, I mean, that's what everyone deserves. But when they've had many chances to be there and they've not chosen to do that, and they've got now karmic experiences and contracts with others to kind of make amends and to kind of like heal that, it gets very complex. And as we know, they're trying to help us all have the best experiences that we can. And it gets really frustrating when people want to make it more complicated. It's just to be here to love. And we are surrounded by people who have had potentially thousands of lifetimes here, who have got so much density, in their inner work closet to purge and heal from. It's very triggering. We can become very emotional. We can feel it all. But at one point, we're going to have to come back to emotions of just that peace and balance. And it feels so simple. And it definitely feels like it's not enough. Oh, just being in balance and loving yourself and others, that can't be enough. People are starving. People are homeless. People are getting blah, 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 blah. But doing too much and getting involved in other people's life contracts when it's their life responsibilities, we can definitely be giving our lives harder experiences that are unnecessary when we try to help others, which turns out to be disempowering and not helping them.
Absolutely.
So therefore, it's so good to be able
And
to have
just
that.
today, I mean,
Sorry, our internet connection's absolutely
what I was
appalling
saying is,
today.
yes, I know. What I was saying is, as you already know, I was triggered all day today, and it was hard for me. I'm not saying that I've got this. I'm the superhero who stays constantly in balance and neutral. I was triggered a lot today, and I kept trying to bring back and dissect it. Okay, what is it that's really triggering me? What am I feeling? I'm trying to understand exactly what I'm feeling so that I don't project it or mislabel it. And it took me all day, but I'm okay now. It's again, I know I keep saying it, but it's just practice. You just can't give up. Just keep trying.
Yeah. And it will get there. But why are they giving us this information to process? Because we're starting to lose hope. What's the significance and the purpose of giving people this information?
I don't know. Um, I don't have the answer to that, Joe.
I think it's to help us remind us how simple it is just to the principles. Jesus was here to show us and teach us to love each other and ourselves and to see each other as all one and equal. And it still seems like we can't get that still. So it is sad that many things have to happen for that experience of loving yourself and others to take place. And it seems like they've tried to send people like Jesus. They've tried to do a whole lot of other things I mean, we literally got grounded to our rooms in lockdowns to really think about our emotions and the people we loved and our mortality. And we were supposed to really make that change and to really notice what was going on around us. And the school here on the 3D earth to awaken to, I guess, when you're pure of heart and you have more of a higher frequency vibration connection, you can call bullshit out a mile away. And I think this was part of people awakening the more that they sort of had time for themselves and could energetically just be focusing and empowering themselves at an energetic rate and not being so distracted in their routines and their social whatever. When they were grounded at home, they had an opportunity to empower themselves at a level they probably hadn't been able to do before, but they had to overcome a lot of fear, a lot of panic, a lot of everything. They were literally told they'd be dying very soon because there was something so deadly outside their house. It was coming to kill everyone, including Nana. And when you put humanity in that state of fear, humanity wants to come together like nothing before. They want everyone to live. Everyone. And so when you apply the metaphysics and you look back at the entire few years that we have just had, to always try to encourage us to reach out and build communities and care about each other and be of service for humanity, this has been more than ever before, in my opinion, but it's coming at a push because humanity is awakening to a system that they don't want to be a part of anymore. They don't want to be controlled by their governments like they are anymore. They don't want to be manipulated or coerced or lied to anymore by any system. And so, what do you do when you awaken to the lies that people you respected? We have, and naturally we should have, been able to trust all leaders are professional. All industries and all services and all systems are being worked upon and guided by the most advanced, specialized professionals that there is, because we wanted to trust humanity was growing at that level, at that rate, and at that direction. And when we suddenly start noticing behind the scenes of the agendas behind all systems, which isn't to keep us healthy, isn't to keep us safe, and isn't to empower us and advance us at our soul, not a soul level, but at a mature level, technology has been held back. Finances have been held back. We have been held back by just the simple banking structures with mortgages and insurance rates and interest rates. So when you start waking up to all of that, it is interesting what we do with that.
Oh, definitely. Keep us in debt, keep us on prescription drugs, keep our food supply filled with chemicals and processed, and it's a system that feeds the system.
Mm.
And definitely I'm so grateful for COVID. I was working as a nurse and I had to get vaccinated, and I was petrified. I have a special needs child, and I was so petrified that I didn't have no idea how COVID was going to affect her. And so luckily I stopped working as a nurse because I was so afraid. I was in fear of bringing COVID home to her. And so when they locked down the schools and I'm at home, that is when it started to change for me, because I could stop and think for myself. I wasn't working, 50, 60 hours like a lot of people, spending time with my children, thinking about what was important, having to look at my finances because I had lost, we went down one income. Like I know a lot of people had to, change the way that they were living and their means that they were living with. And it was so purposeful. And I know that there are some out there that didn't take the opportunity, but I do believe that there are some that did. It really changed, people growing their own gardens, and people decide, you know what, I'm not going to go back to work full time. I'm going to work part time. I don't need this. I don't need that. And that is inspiring to me. I just, hope that that momentum keeps going.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they survived something that was so deadly and that they saw people dropping dead in the streets, they feel like they've been given a new lease of life. They're survivors. They survived this incredible thing that they were told would absolutely kill them. And so now they've got this new freedom, this new sense of invincibility. And, when they were locked in their prisons at home, they told themselves all the things that they would do, and they suddenly had to reflect on their lives. While you're financially poorer, you're emotionally and more connected to your family than ever before, which makes you filthy rich.
Yes, absolutely. I'm more than happy living with reduced income and having more time with my family, and also being able to stop and think, hey, was I really doing what I wanted to do? Was I really doing what I was supposed to be doing? Was that really my calling or my purpose? When you can actually stop for a minute and think, you realize, that you have choices. You have choices.
And so you naturally came here because you knew you were supposed to heal and help humanity. And so, of course, you wanted to be a nurse and you did the best you could in that guise, in that system. Did you ever notice or get a sense that maybe that system wasn't empowering humanity at all?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was working in cardiology with a lot of geriatrics, and yeah, it was very, very tear jerking. And I noticed that the physicians would schedule 3 people every 15 minutes. Now, how do you have time to sit and listen to someone when you have literally 3, 4 minutes that you're going to give to that person?
Mm.
And their instant thing is to write a new prescription and let's see you in a few months. And you don't hear the person, you don't see the person, they're not seen, they're not heard. And I think that's just one example how it is across the healthcare system. So no, it's not an empowering system. It's the opposite.
Mhm. And all you need to do is look at the side effects of any medicines to think, is this Russian roulette for all of my organs? Because
Yeah.
because the thing is that people say, oh well, um, I'm protected, I'm safe, this isn't going to harm me. This medicine is going to fix me, and it's like, well, you're using your free will, and life contracts are one thing, but using your free will to eat away at your systems, may be harder for you. Um, and it's very interesting, very very interesting what happens to our bodies when we start adding extra toxins into the bodies, which is everywhere. So this is the significance of us being high frequency vibrational to overcome that and empower ourselves through that. But so anyway, yes, you were right. You were supposed to stop that career and do your true energy work. I know that you call it Reiki, but I know that you do so much more beyond Reiki. And I don't really know. I'm not a Reiki person myself, but I just knew whatever you were saying that you're calling it Reiki. I think this is an advanced version of that. And that's my opinion.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's much, anybody that's listening that's familiar with Reiki, it's um and a lot of times you'll go and you'll see somebody and they'll heal you and they'll with their good intentions and everything, but I talk to the person the whole time and I try to nudge them to do inner work, That's planting seeds. And
It was, yeah,
so I'm like, oh, you're having some pain, you're having some you're having a cough right now. I'm like, what are you not saying that you need to say? you know are you
genius.
speaking your truth, or
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not trying to put a band-aid on it and give them a pleasant hour or whatever. You're actually holding them accountable and looking at their reactions and addressing their roots of their issues. And I mean, of course, you probably do hold back when you notice that there could be, you, usually energy wise, you can feel sexual abuse, you can feel verbal abuse, you can feel a whole lot of stuff. I mean, do you feel comfortable like calling
yes.
that out? I mean, that must be very challenging.
um is it comfortable? No. Do I do it? Yes,
Mm.
because if they're coming to me, there's a reason they're coming to me. And if it's shocking and it's not what they wanted, then they won't be back. A lot of people leave me in tears, but I don't feel bad about that. I mean, because sometimes that's you have to face these things. So
To release them.
is it comfortable? No, it's awkward as hell. But I address it. I address it.
Yeah. 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 And as you should, right? Keeping small is not empowering people to grow. And this is, you're so right. If people are in your face, you've got skills to sense this and to address it. And I'm sure your delivery is beautiful. I'm sure your love and compassion for them is really sensitive and on point. And I just think that's amazing. That's the true healing people need, for empowerment to identify and address what's really honestly going on for them.
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
And I am not telling people to stop taking their prescription medicine. I do not want to be on the record for that. I will say that when I left nursing, I was taking heart medicine, acid reflux medicine. I was taking seizure medicine for headaches. I was on so many prescriptions. I'm not even gonna lie. I was on so many prescriptions, and one by one, I just stopped. I did it by starting to eat live, fresh foods, increasing my water, and cutting out sugar. People don't realize sugar is worse than anything else that you're eating and putting in your body. Sugar is the worst. That's why the health system's like, oh, cut out all your fats. No, fats are good. Cut out your sugars.
Yeah,
Just want to say that.
absolutely. Well, me and my rant about sugar being the devil. So, we're preaching the same.
It is.
But it's one of those things you just don't know until you experience it yourself. And being a part of our, and being responsible for our energy frequency is being responsible for what we fuel the body. And, you really are what you eat. And if you're eating toxic poisons, good luck with the high frequency. Like you really have to honor it all. And as much as we love treats and all that sort of stuff, it's balances, but what works for you. And we're not going to preach to you, but I do know clients who have had, I don't know, dozens of medications, and I've gone through every one of them with the subconscious, and then the subconscious was like, no, 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 God, no, no, not, well, God, I'm starting to say that saying again, just to clarify, the subconscious did not say God, no. That's me, the human mind saying this, but it's the subconscious is just like, no, that they're just distracting themselves, and you can heal yourself from everything that's not part of a life contract. And even if it is part of a life contract, you're supposed to still try to empower yourself to heal. We do not escape this life by living. We will always have to leave the physical body behind, regardless of whatever life contract we have, right? At some form, we're going to have to leave the body. Correct. As you graduate from the 3D. If you're going to leave this planet to jump on a whole bunch of other 3D planets, well, that may be different. You may be taking your 3D body with you, and awesome for that. But we always knew we were going to die, right? And this lifetime version experience was going to end. We've always been told that. And, best thing is the soul and the consciousness still keeps to live beyond that, beyond the illusion. And so whatever we're learning here on Earth and the range of emotions, this is significant. That is the most significant things we get to take away from this planet, not souvenirs, not your running shoes, not your debt, not your insecurities, not your gardens, not always your family and friends. And you could tell from your session you were a very advanced being, because they were very honest with you about your family going different places. And I just thought, gosh, that's a big one for a mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was hard. That was hard to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's no way.
Yeah, no one's staying together. Everyone's going somewhere else, which is very hard to hear.
But when you heard why from the subconscious, it makes total sense. But this is why there's no way you would have made up that shit, because you love your family so much. So much. Even on your worst, angriest days, if they had said your skinny jeans look fat on you or something, like even if they were really mean to you, you would never, ever, ever, ever want to say out loud, we're not shifting and going to the same places, because that's just not what we want to do with our families. Because you've got a beautiful family and you love your family so much. And the thought of you being separate in this lifetime now would be very upsetting. But they explained it to you so beautifully. And you've got advanced children going back to their home planets, your husband's going somewhere else, like they explained it so well. And of course you don't have to accept it. Of course you can be angry with that, but what does it make you do here now? Appreciate every moment you have with them more than you have ever thought you could before.
Yes, absolutely. And I guess it didn't really upset me as much because I they explained and I understand that regardless of where they're going and the separation, we're not separate. The consciousness, you, especially that's something I love about not being in the third density, you can reach out to any consciousness and consciously be with that person anytime that you want. It's so, I mean, that's one thing that we can all look forward to. We can talk to our loved ones regardless of where they've decided to move on to, what planet, what density. When you're not here in this dense, you know, third dimension, you can connect to anybody at any moment. You're never alone. You're never separated. It's beautiful, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing to fear. And we've been separate from them before with other lifetimes, and we've been together with them now for this lifetime, and we could be separate again, but we keep coming backwards and forwards. Everything's significant for now. And, just we have to appreciate who we're here with and why. And, you know, we're just kind of, it's never farewell. It's always, we'll see you again soon. It's like they go away on their holidays to different planets. We go away, have holidays on different planets, and then we'll catch up in a few planets, ahead, or somewhere else, or somewhere else, or somewhere else. The souls never disappear. They're always there. And I mean, that's the beauty of it. We're all so connected.
And if people would look around them and see the people in their lives, all of those people chose to be with us. They consciously chose to be with us so that we would not be alone in this experience. You
Yeah,
know, that's so special. It's
absolutely.
not just a random, oh, this person, nothing's random. All
Mm,
of these souls consciously chose to be with you in your life.
absolutely. And
It is
some of
beautiful.
and some of us are here to support those souls, and so, we have to sometimes just accept we are the leaders in some of our family, and that we are, that we are here to support them. So if we're still hoping for people to support us, what are we wanting from them? This is our inner work to empower ourselves. And as much as we love people to do our dishes for us and do our inner work for us and just completely love us, this is unfortunately our responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Fuck it.
Absolutely. And I know that from what I understand, I know I'm the leader. I'm the leader of my family, and which I don't want to be the leader of my family. I want to sit in the back seat, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
That's a typical leader's response. A big egoic person would say, oh, I'm the leader of the family, and not actually recognize their place, which is usually to learn from others. And so, such a classic statement to say. And, true leaders find it very lonely because, it's lonely to be the one to empower everyone else when everyone else is too distracted. And this is why so many people want to just only have like for like friends. But when you remember that, even like for like friends can kind of hold you back as you're growing in different rates and different interests, it's very challenging. This is a very, very challenging experience. And, we keep getting told in sessions, don't worry, it's not going to feel like too long now. And, it's a mind bend.
Right.
Enjoy all the emotions. These are luxuries because you don't get to experience them above this. So, have your gymnastics, have the pity parties, indulge, do whatever you want, but get back to neutral and loving all of those emotions, even the dramatic ones, because we're here to experience it all.
Absolutely. And when we're taking the time to analyze and look back on all the decisions that we made, and when we loved or didn't love, I want to be proud of myself. I don't want to be like, "Ah, what is wrong with her?" I want to say
Yeah.
I did that. I love that person. I was there for that person. I held space for that person.
Yeah.
I want to be proud of myself when I look back. I hope. I hope.
I think that motivates me. I want to look back and then see when I was aware of how profoundly significant healing myself and growing was. I wanted to share that with everyone, but I sort of felt like, I was this harasser. You got a good intern, you need a free hookup for a free intern. Like, I kind of felt like I was peer pressuring people. And, people weren't always ready for healing and growing. And
You're
my
kind of a
passion,
pimp.
a pimp, absolutely a pimp for QHHT interns who are free.
Yeah, you're kind of a pimp, Joe.
Yeah, I have it. So what did someone accuse me of the other day? Having a free agenda. What the hell is
Oh,
a free agenda?
yeah, trying to push your free agenda. How dare you? How dare you be free?
You can, I mean, if I was going to come back as an
How
evil
dare you not charge people through the nose?
I know. Yeah, well, there's other practitioners that do that. Um, it's kind of like if I was going to be an evil influencer, yeah, hell yeah. If there were people just mindlessly following me, of course I'd say stuff like, don't do your inner work, never have anything for free. That's always a trap. Don't connect in with higher beings, they're the devil. Like there'd be such easy ways to coerce people to limit themselves, right? In the vein or the fake hearingness of trying to help them. Don't go to the light, don't evolve, don't advance, don't do this, don't do that, blah 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 blah. I mean, when your influencers are telling you more things to not do than to try and encourage you to empower yourself to grow and to trust and to feel into it and have your own personal experiences with the divine, sweet baby Jesus, whomever you want to connect in with. When people are telling you don't do that, be afraid, there's monsters on behind the veil. I mean, really, we've already matured now. We've already high vibe beyond those lies now. But then I do know that there are some very confusing, convincing, limited perspective influences that sort of say half truths, but then also sell a lot of fear and disinformation and not from a real, true metaphysical perspective. So, there's all stepping stones out there, obviously.
Yeah, those people they say just enough of the truth to kind of hook you and reel you in,
Mm.
which is horrible.
Yeah, I
And
noticed.
no, if your goal was self promotion, you have failed royally.
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
No
My
offense.
business plan's a failure. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. How to bankrupt yourself in 5 easy steps. um yeah, it's definitely obviously not my agenda, right? And it's never been about it. It's kind of me being
Right.
public with my own healing journey and my own curiosities, and then kind of accidentally discovering, recently, whoa, there's a lot of information that actually is really quite powerful. And as you know, when you read Mastery Human, you would go to a chapter or a place in the book which exactly talked about you today and how to empower yourself out of it, right?
Which was eerie because I wouldn't read it every day. I really paced myself. I'd read it and I'd wait a few days and I'd read another chapter. And I might go a week and read another chapter. But whenever I got to that chapter, it would just freak me out because it was exactly what I was dealing with. And it almost felt like it was trolling me.
I
And
have heard that
it's just
so many times. Yeah, I've heard that about sessions too, where people are like, I can't listen to this because this is dark forces because you are too much in my own personal space. This you must be secretly recording me and my thoughts in my mind because everything that you're discussing, like, there's some very scared people that don't like how personalized this information feels for them.
Yeah. But people need to understand that you're not in their personal space. They are in their personal space.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's very
But I
confusing.
guess if you're afraid,
But the thing is that they get it because they start exploring older sessions and the fucking same thing happens. This video was a year old and this is talking about my life now. How is that possible? As I get, people messaging me wanting.
how many times have I told you that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and so this is why they want to
And
make
and I came on late on the scene. Yeah.
well, it's great that we've got all this, this proof of all these different sessions from people around the world saying the same thing. And, you can take it or leave it, or you can have your own sessions and challenge this. Find out what your collective's truth is and what's happening for you. That is the most empowering thing. Don't blindly trust us. Have your own sessions. And when there is free interns that know nothing about me and I know nothing about those interns, how can I be manipulating your sessions?
Absolutely. My first session was with a free intern, and she was wonderful, and she became a friend, somebody I had never met.
Cute. Perfect.
And so, yeah, it was wonderful.
And she would have been quite overwhelmed with your session, but you would have been able to reassure her as much as you grew and have your other sessions to go, yeah, this is actually real. This is not my human mind. And this would have encouraged, because you would have asked her how many sessions has she had, right?
Right.
And so,
And I think it was a little off-putting for her, that first session with me, because even that first session, they're like, "Oh no, she goes back to her ship." And my intern was like, "Ship?" So,
yeah.
but you know, it's wonderful. We've talked a lot about it. We've become friends, and it's really inspired her to keep going with the internship. So I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, because there's so much more to learn right now. And as more people are doing the courses, they're, having the sessions that are appropriate for them for their awakening as well. It's not an accident the clients you get. That's for sure. So, it's marvelous times to be here to remember the purpose and significance of why you came here. You all came, you all choose to do it, you all wanted to do it. So what are you doing with the time you have here?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay, well,
And
do you
I
want
was
to
just gonna
say
say
anything?
I'm late on the scene. Yeah, just gonna say I'm late on the scene, and coming in late and then listening to the videos that were posted a year ago or more than a year ago, they're so relevant to what I'm experiencing. So please keep reposting, because I'm telling you, they're meant for people, even if they're from a year ago. So
Hmm. Yeah, it's all, all relevant now. And I know the information, you can hear it, but miss it. You can hear certain things. So the more you grow, even if you listen back to your very first session you started listening to with us, I bet you would hear it completely different now, to the point where you would almost feel like I haven't listened to this, even though you have, because it'll just be new information.
absolutely.
It's
So
amazing.
excited and so thankful.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, well, hopefully the sound hasn't been too terrible with random internet today. So sorry about that. And for everyone listening, keep drinking your water and knowing that this is very significant and purposeful while you're here. Bye.